Mm. Okay. Um, so I guess I was just going to start off by saying congratulations on the film. I know it's your first directorial feature, if I'm correct.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
correct.
so when I first heard about this film, I was super excited because I am personally a big fan of one location slasher horror films. So naturally, I was so excited to check this one out.
Yeah.
What movies in that sort of subgenre inspired you to make this?
Yeah. The love of the genre brought the writer and I together. And we wanted to make something that could be produced at a lower budget range if we needed to, that we could like actually get off the ground as our first feature.
Hmm.
But the films that like really inspired this movie were John Carpenter's films, a lot of his early stuff, Assault on Precinct 13, um, and I think just kind of like the work of William Friedkin, nothing specific, but just like the fact that he brought like a really visceral element to the films, and use the filmmaking to really tell an emotional story. We wanted to like invite people in to a horror film and then give them something and kind of challenge them and bring some real emotional experience and humanity to it, and to kind of like push people in that way.
Hmm. Absolutely, and that actually ushers me right into my next question perfectly. So what are you hoping for audiences to walk away from when they see this?
Yeah, I think it was really important for me to kind of, and for Taylor to really push the idea of perspective. And like there are all sorts of people going about their lives having these experiences, and sometimes these experiences uh you know butt up and can cause violence because there isn't an understanding, there isn't an empathy being shared, and you end up getting a potential scenario like this film, which could exist in the real world. And I think for me, yes, it's horrifying that it's a slasher, it's a thriller, but it's like, but
Hmm.
really the real horror to me is like the breakdown of communication and people not being able to understand or even attempting to. And like this is a whole movie, this is a whole situation that could have been avoided if people just talked to each other.
Right,
And like
right.
that is truly the horror, is because that is what is at the heart of this.
Absolutely. And it kind of gave me a lot of like kind of the Strangers vibes,
Sure.
2008 The Strangers,
Yeah.
um, which I love. So again, I love the whole subgenre, and I think that feeling of, anxiety and confusion and just relentless fear shines
Yeah.
through a lot in this movie, especially like there's no communication, everyone's kind of on their own page, even on
Yeah.
both sides with, Nancy and then the gang of killers
Right.
after her.
Yeah. Of
even
course. Of
even they're
course.
not on the same page. It was a
Yeah.
really interesting dynamic to see. Which around the halfway point of the film, I'm not gonna spoil it for anyone reading the
Sure.
interview, but around the halfway point of the film, we shift perspectives a
Hmm.
little bit. Well, not a little bit, a lot, in a pretty big way.
Sure.
So what prompted you and Taylor to take the story in that direction?
I think, I mean, look, the slasher, the horror, the home invasion thriller, I mean, it's been done again and again and again. And,
Mhm.
I think for us, it's why make this movie and why make another one? And it's like, well, what can we offer up to an audience that is different? What,
Mhm.
and that is what makes this story worth telling. And I think, for us, it was more than just like, oh, it's a home invasion thriller, and it's we're gonna chase around a young woman, and it's terrifying. And it's like, okay, great, we've seen that. And what if we start that way, and then the movie can become something else and maybe more unique, and maybe it's challenging, maybe people will like it, maybe people will be like, what, but it's like for us from day one, it was about, you know having making a film that is like a thrill ride and is fun and at the same time challenging expectations.
Mhm.
And also it was just for as a director telling an emotional story and a visual story, it was an opportunity to use different storytelling, filmmaking, visual techniques to really get into the heads of these characters. So when you're coming back to a scene that you've seen before, it feels fresh and new because you're telling it from a different emotional angle.
Right. And I definitely felt that, which I mean, it's hard to tiptoe around the spoilers because I love
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you
Well, I
did with
mean,
the perspectives, but
sure.
with the antagonists of the
Right.
film, that came across so beautifully, the different perspectives, the different emotional perspectives between Nancy and the man she fired. His name escapes me at the moment, but
Yeah.
I,
Jake.
Jake, yes, on tip of my tongue.
Okay.
But yeah, I love that when we shift from those perspectives, it kind of came out of left field, but it worked so well, and it
Yeah.
made the like last half of the movie just flows in such a unique way that
Yeah.
I was just like re brought into the film.
Yeah. I mean, we were trying to like, give the breadcrumbs earlier on in the movie. So it doesn't, I mean, yes, it's like a surprise and it's a shock, but at the same time, it's not necessarily unexpected.
Hmm.
And I think maybe what's maybe more surprising and shocking is just like it's like, oh, they went there, they did that. And it's like, and it's like that was our angle and our take on this. I think, for me, I approached this movie as a horror film, then a psychological drama, and then like just hopefully I could make like a crowd pleaser.
Right.
I moved it into those three different categories.
Well, I was pleased. I really enjoyed it. Um, one question that, and this pops in my head when I was watching, I made a note of it here.
Hmm.
I noticed a sort of, and correct me if I'm like looking too deep into things because I
No,
definitely
no,
could be.
no, please.
I noticed a sort of vagueness when it came to establishing a time period.
Yeah.
We're set in a 1950s, 1960s-esque roadside diner. The
Yep.
score was very 80s, kind of synth-ish. But there's cell phones, kind of modern tech, but they're still using the rotary dial phone. And it actually reminded me a lot of another film that is intentionally vague with its time period, It Follows. So I'm
Hmm.
wondering if you kind of took the same approach with that and like with the way the props and the sets are.
Yeah. For me, I it comes from personal taste, and also my experience growing up in a town like that.
Hmm.
I grew up in a very small town down south, and my experience was, you know, things that were vestiges of another time, things from the 50s and the 60s mixed with, you know, modern technology. But at the same time, while somebody has an iPhone, the guy I used to work for had a flip phone from like 1999. And this was like 2011. And it's like, some places are frozen in time. Some people freeze with it, other people move on with the time, and it's really interesting to like see those things rub shoulders with each other because it happens both in sort of like the production design but also the people. Sometimes the
Hmm.
people get stuck, and then
Yeah.
sometimes people push against it, and then there's a friction, and I just wanted it to come through in all angles of the film.
It definitely comes through, and I love that answer. By the way, I was wondering if I was looking too deeply into it, but I was like,
No,
I
no, no.
gotta
It was
ask that. I
very purposeful. Like this is not. This was.
awesome.
I'm glad that you noticed it because I put a lot of time and effort and really pushed our production designer to do
Yeah,
it.
well, I mean, it paid off. I loved it, and also in kind of the same vein of like it being vague, the name
Sure,
itself is sort of vague. Last straw. What
sure.
inspired the title?
Yeah, we had a bunch of different titles we were working with, and this is to the credit of our producer, Dane Eckerl. He landed on the title Last Straw, and I mean, it's really about people reaching a boiling point and then
Mm,
making a choice and a decision. And I'm always interested in when you apply pressure to someone or a situation and somebody has to make that innate choice, what will they do? What happens to a person? And that film is about those moments. And colloquially, those are last straw moments. At the same time, it's an homage to one of our favorite movies that really inspired the film, which is Straw Dogs.
mm,
And it kind of comes full circle. So it's kind of working on different levels, but it is a purposeful title, and I hope it comes through in what we made.
Absolutely. And kind of shifting to sort of behind the scenes type thing. I going through your career in film, you've worked a lot of different departments on a lot of different films, which is
Mhm.
super cool, by the way. So what was it like going through all those different departments? You were casting department in a lot of productions. You've been an
Yeah.
editor on some things, but now you're in the director's chair on a feature film. So what was it like transitioning to that position for this?
It's not even transitioning. It's all the same job. It's
Mhm.
all about storytelling. And each one of these things is just a different way of telling the story. Whether you're using, shots and putting two shots together to tell a story, or you're choosing actors, or you're the director and you're putting it all together. It's all just been part of the same journey. I mean, I'm still a casting director. That's my day job,
Mhm.
and that allowed me to get a foot in the door, to really see how things got made, and then really to like understand how to work with actors and to push actors. And if I hadn't worked in casting for the last 10 years, I don't think I could have made this movie. I mean, because I've been able to learn a secondhand language with actors to like get to something real and emotional and truthful very quickly. And this was
Mhm.
such a pressure cooker of a film, we really had to move fast. And so it all just feeds into each other. I think to be a filmmaker, you really have to just know a lot of different departments. And so that comes through just doing it.
Absolutely. I'm a filmmaker myself, so I totally
You
understand.
get
I
it.
love that answer. I
Yeah.
love that answer so much.
Oh, good.
Um, kind of keeping with that, and again, your experience as a casting director probably definitely applied to this. What were you looking for in an actress to portray Nancy? Because I mean, her character is such a force of nature in this film,
Yeah.
and Jessica did such a great job. I'm wondering what were you looking for in an actress to portray that, and what did you see in Jessica that made her the right choice?
I auditioned several hundred, so I mean several hundreds of actors for this. It's just the
Hmm.
process of casting, and if you're really going to go for it. And Jess was our Nancy because she brought both attitude, which we needed, but
Hmm.
also empathy. And I think that she was able to bring both of those to the screen at all times. I think a lot of actors were pushing the attitude too much or the empathy too much, and could never really find that right middle ground. And then Jess just nailed it. You know,
Right.
she really came in, did her work, pushed herself, was just down and game to like get into the emotional life of this character. And I couldn't be happier.
No, I mean, I said, she is a force of nature in this film. So I mean, 100%. I can see what you mean, balancing the kind of the attitude with the empathy, and
Yeah.
it collides so well
Yeah.
in a lot of her scenes. So I mean, I love that.
Thank you.
So once again, congratulations on your feature debut as a director. I really
Thank you,
enjoyed it.
Jacob.
Of course. Do you have anything else in the works, kind of cooking on the back
Yeah,
burner?
Taylor and I, the writer of Last Straw, we're working on another film together. Bigger, but still the genre. We're just kind of pushing what we did in Last Straw to the next level. It's another nasty, dirty film, but with some hope. So, that's
Awesome,
what we're
awesome.
doing.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing more about it. I don't know if you could talk at all about it. I don't want
No, I'll tease that. That's what I got.
to. Okay, I don't want to pull any teeth here.
Yeah.
All right, well, awesome. I think that is about it on my questions. Thank you so much, and congratulations once again to you and Taylor.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed the movie, and I look forward to hopefully catching it again if it's in a theater near me come September.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
yeah, thank you
Thanks
so
for watching.
much.
See
Thank
you
you.
around.
See you around.
Thanks so much, Jacob.
Thank
I'll
you.
send the recording your way and we can go from there.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You have a good one.